Here we are, heading into the summer. It's still doom and gloom, isn't it, under Labour? We've had 8 months of this now. It's getting worse. It's not going to get any better. It's going to get far, far, far worse. Keir Starmer has no idea of how to govern this country. The Labour Party have lost their way. Reform now under Nigel Farage is sold out. He is allowing the Reform Party to be fractured by getting rid of people like Rupert Lowe and making up sleaze allegations against him. We actually thought that in 3.5 to 4 years' time we might have a chance by voting reform. But under Nigel Farage, unfortunately, the Messiah complex has happened. Either that or bribes. I mean, I don't like to say this about Nigel Farage, but he's completely lost his way. He will not back mass deportation of illegal immigrants in this country. Oh yes, he wants to stop the boats, but that's only half the problem. The other half of the problem is the millions that we have here of illegals, which is being lumped into the benefit system, and now they want to cut the benefit system, but I'm sure they won't cut the benefit system for these people that are illegal, living in hotels, getting free heating, getting free money, getting free bikes and mobiles, new mattresses, new clothes. A lot of us can't afford that, and we go to work. We're actually in working poverty. You can get someone now earning £1,500 to £1,700 per month after paying tax and national insurance and saving for a pension, which is not going to be worth the paper that anything is printed on, even when it goes over to digital currency, which will happen under Labour. Basically, the rents are so high, if you can manage to get a place to rent, that you are in working poverty. People are living on the streets. This is a Western, progressive, rich country, so we're told. But I don't believe it. I think we're a bankrupt country. There are so many people living on the streets of the capital city of London that Sadiq Khan ought to be ashamed of himself. Basically, the man shouldn't have a job. He's trying to make diversity in London, which literally means diversity, more Islamic followers that are killing this country. They want Sharia law in every part of Britain. They make no bones about what they want. They make videos and go online calling for death against non-Christians or non-Muslims. But if you're a Christian person or a non-believer, they are calling for a jizya, I think they call it, where you have to pay to live in this society or be put to death. This is part of the Quran. This is part of what they believe. This is part of what they follow. There are a few Muslim scholars coming out calling that the Quran is incorrect. It shouldn't be followed like this. It's been misinterpreted. Unfortunately, the Quran can be misinterpreted in so many different ways that it suits every individual person that wants to misinterpret the Quran. I mean, this needs stopping. It is a terrorist pamphlet that should not be allowed to be taught in a Western country. We are seeing homeless people that have fought for this country. We are seeing homeless people in our youngsters that have gone through the education system and cannot get a job, living on the streets. We are seeing families that have saved for years that are having repossessions of either their rented accommodation or their mortgage accommodation because they can no longer afford to keep up with the bills. This is wrong. And this is Labour. This is what Labour are doing. Conservative were no better, 14 years, and they should have stopped the boats. They flooded this country under an experiment that has gone wrong. Diversity does not work. It will never work. If you have people that don't want to be included into the way of life that they've come to and expect and want in a Western country, then why come here? Stay where you are. They're not fleeing from persecution. These are economic refugees with their hands out. And that's all there is to it. I'm sorry. You know, people may say I'm wrong, but it is a fact. They've got their hands out. There are so many that literally say on camera and to people they don't want to work. Why would they want to work when they get handouts to sit around? This is what they do in desert communities. They sit around and they drink their teas or their coffees and they don't work. You know, they one of the biggest problems with the countries they're coming from, they still believe in slavery, for God's sake. You know, they still believe that women are less than dogs in their country. And now we're allowing this to be taught in this country. There are things like honoured killings in their country. We're seeing it in this country as well. That's why there should be one law and one law only. And Keir Starmer has got to go. Sadiq Khan has got to go. And the woke culture and the lefties that are allowing this, let me tell you something. If you're gay in this country, you're free to express yourself. What the hell do you think is going to happen under Sharia law in this country? They will put people to death because they don't believe in this free, progressive society that we've created through 2 world wars and hundreds of thousands of people that gave their lives. They don't believe in this. They don't care about it. It's a complete takeover of our country. It has to stop. And unfortunately, what we thought was going to happen in 3.5 to 4 years' time under reform is not going to happen. Nigel Farage has sold out. They have become a centrist party where they've got Tories and Labour activists in there. It's not going to work. The people that spoke the truth were people like Rupert Lowe. I hope and I pray to my God, a Christian God, that people like Elon Musk will back Rupert Lowe in a new party, because if it takes off now, by God, in 3.5 years' time, that will be the only hope we have. And I hope Elon Musk will put his money where his mouth is, so freedom of speech, freedom of thought can happen in a Western nation. We're supposed to be allies with America, and look what's happening. You've got David Lammy, who's now trying to slide back on what he said against President Trump. We have Keir Starmer, that on the last, when he was a shadow leader, tried to block President Trump from coming to this country on a state visit. Now he is licking the man's backside. It's sickening. He's a sycophant. I hate this man, and he needs to go. He is not the right man to lead this country. He needs to go. And Labour need voting out of power. They are killing this country, and it's got to stop. Violence on the street is inevitable before long. Not that I will it, not that I agree with it, but when you have people that march peacefully in hundreds of thousands to show the government their disapproval, and you've got a petition of over 3 million, and Keir Starmer says, well, they're the ones that didn't vote for me. That is no way for a supposed Prime Minister to act. These people are trying to show that they've had enough. What the hell do you think happens when you corner and don't listen to people like this? You know, this is going back to Nazism in this country. It really is. The powers we're giving to the police to enter your home, to stop and search. This is supposed to be a socialist government for the people. It's nothing like that anymore. It's not a socialist government. This is becoming a totalitarian government. This is becoming 1984. I mean, George Orwell predicted what would happen in the future in a fictitious book called 1984. It's no longer fictitious. This is happening, people. Wake up, and do something about it. Speak up. Freedom of speech has got to be protected.